You can't afford, you can't have an economy with 9 million people on benefits and huge levels of immigrants coming in. I mean, the UK is being colonised. It's costing too much money. It will cause...
It's been colonised?
It'll cause... Well, yeah. The UK is being colonised by immigrants, really, isn't it? I mean, the population of the UK was 58 million in 2020. Now it's 70 million. That's 12 million people.
You met recently with Nigel Farage, didn't you?
I did.
Do you think that they would be a kind of a good government if they were to win the next election?
I think Nigel is an intelligent man, and I think he's got good intentions, but in a way you could say exactly the same about Keir when Keir came in.
When I was growing up, there was one habit that I picked up. And I think it's as a result of the principles of the family I came from. One of the principles is think before you say something. Think before you talk. We are not under any pressure to say something. Hence, if we have to say something, we need to process the information, engage our brain before saying it out. Most of you have seen the interview of Manchester United co-owner Sir Jim Ratcliffe. This interview has sent shockwave across the internet space, globally, global shock wave. But remember the principle. Think before you say something. It doesn't matter if you go for a job interview, if you go for an interview at a school, you go for an interview within the community, you have to think before you say something. When I watched this interview by Sir Jim Ratcliffe, I resonated with what he was trying to say. I resonated. Countries go through difficult time. Countries will always have struggles economically. There's always going to be challenges everywhere. Every country has their problems. No country is perfect. However, he was answering one of the questions and then he deviated into immigration and started talking about immigrants. Before I go into what he said or what he was insinuating, growing up back in West Africa, people love football with passion. People are crazy about football. I knew this right from primary school. When it comes to football, people are insane. I could remember watching World Cup on a black and white TV. People were shouting, right? Screaming. We could not even tell what team was playing what team because it's a black and white TV. And Manchester United fans, everywhere in West Africa, you have Manchester United fans. I'm talking from the time of 1993, 1990 to 1996, 1998. My cousins, they are all Manchester United supporters. They love David Beckham, Paul Scholes, Rio Ferdinand, Ryan Giggs. Name it, all the great Manchester United players, they love them. They are crazy about football. You cannot have conversation with my cousin without mentioning football, or without him bringing up the topic of football. He's just as passionate and dedicated to the game. These are people in Africa. They've never been to Europe. They love the game. You know when Patrice Evra used to say, "I love this game," he should go to Ghana, Nigeria, Ivory Coast, Sierra Leone, and he will come across people who love the game more than him. You know, because his slogan, Patrice Evra, is always, "I love this game." Come to Africa, you see people who love the game 10, 100 times more than you. For Sir Jim Ratcliffe, co-owner of Manchester United, I believe he owned 27.7% stake. There are other owners who are also in the board. For him to make a statement such as the United Kingdom is so immigrants, has been colonized by immigrants. I don't know what's the logic behind that statement. Because one would ask, okay, these immigrants who have colonized the United Kingdom, are they contributing anything to the United Kingdom? Are they just here for the milk and honey? Because when you make such a statement, it's either you see it as a problem or you see it as a positive contribution to the country or positive addition to the country. The United Kingdom has been colonized by immigrants. I saw other video whereby people now debunk what he was saying. He didn't even get his facts right. The Office for National Statistics has previously published the figures, the population of the United Kingdom. He didn't get his figures right. But when you use the word colonization, do you even understand the meaning of the word colonization? According to the published data, 2024-2025, 16% of the UK population were from ethnic minority. 16% ethnic minority. As of 2025/2026, 19% of the UK population were from ethnic minority. The UK population at the moment, as of 2026, is estimated to be around 69 million people. 69 million people in the United Kingdom. 19% of that 69 million people is 13 million. 13 million people in the United Kingdom are ethnic minority or from ethnic minority background. That is not a good example of colonization. If you have, let's just say 20% of the total population are from ethnic minority, which may include immigrants, people come and go. That's how countries operate or function. People come and go. 20% of the population cannot be colonizing 80% of the population. 20% cannot be dominating 80%. So that is not a definition of colonization, according to what Sir Jim Ratcliffe was claiming. It's not. Because when we say ethnic minority, we're referring to people from small groups, small culture, small belief system, small communities. It's not a big, staggering number to say there are 50% of immigrants in the United Kingdom, hence they are heading towards colonization. It's not the case. I know sometimes the media would make reference to different cultures across the United Kingdom, but they are not colonizing anyone. They are not colonizing anyone. I know there are some projections, according to population experts, who are projecting that the UK population would get to, will increase in the next 40 years. They are population experts, but that is what they do. They make projections because they are saying in 40 years' time, British nationals will be ethnic minority in their own country. That can be scary for some people to think, okay, in 40 years' time, my children will live in a country as where they are born as ethnic minority. It can be scary, and that will be in the year 2086. But it's not something to be, it's not a concern. It's not, United Kingdom is not a country of concern, because the United Kingdom always make laws, policies that create equality, diversity and inclusion. That is the great thing about the United Kingdom. There are policies in place. Although you have a population of 69 million people, 19% of them are immigrants. It's a very small number, unless maybe the definition of colonization has changed. I don't know. Let me look up the definition. What actually is colonization? Colonization is the process where a foreign power establishes control over a territory and its people, often involving settlement, exploitation of resources, and the imposition of social, cultural, and economic structures driven by motive of wealth, power, ideological expansion. Based on what Sir Jim Ratcliffe, Manchester United co-owner, was saying, you cannot tell me 13 million people out of a population of 70 million people will try to establish control over England or over the British national, or take control of the people. 13 million people will take control of. You cannot tell me 13 million people will take control of, let's say, 55 million people and try to change their culture, trying to change their belief, try to make them into who, to turn them into the belief system of that 13 million people. You cannot colonize it. I don't think Sir Jim Ratcliffe understood what colonization is all about. I can give good examples of colonization. You have European countries, these European nationals, all these empires. You have European nationals, Spain, France, Portugal, England, how they colonized Central and South America, North America, India, Africa. I remember growing up when I saw a lot of the British stamp in our country, the Catholic schools, the educational system were all structured by the British. Even in Ghana, some of them were even structured by the Scottish people. Colonization, that is when you colonize country, you give them systems. All the European nations, countries that colonized Brazil, Angola, Mozambique, how the British colonized Africa, Asia, how the French colonized some parts of Africa, French-speaking African countries. That is what you call colonization. Not a small percentage of ethnic minority. For you to label those small percentage as the colonizers, I don't think they meet the requirements or criteria to be put into the category of colonizers. They don't.
I think it needs somebody who's prepared to be unpopular for a period of time to get the big issues sorted out, would be my view. Yeah. It's not an enjoyable experience, I can tell you, having been through a very small version of it, but at the end of the day, I think that's what's required. You've got all the same issues with the country, haven't you? If you really want to deal with the major issues of immigration, with people opting to take benefits rather than working for a living, if you want to deal with that, then you're going to have to do some things which are unpopular and show some courage.
And has this government done that?
No, I think they I don't know whether it's just the apparatus that hasn't allowed Keir to do it, or he's maybe too nice. He's a nice. I mean, I know Keir. He's a nice man. I like him, but it's a tough job, and I think you have to do some difficult things with the UK to get it back on track, because at the moment, I don't think the economy's in a good... You can't afford... you can't have an economy with 9 million people on benefits and huge levels of immigrants.
It was disgraceful to make such a comment. And that is why sometimes people need to think before they talk. You are the co-owner of a big club, a Manchester United club. How big that club is. What message are you sending to all the staff who work in Manchester United? Those immigrants, because you cannot tell me Manchester United as a club is run by only the people who were born in Manchester. There are immigrants in the club. Are you now saying those immigrants are trying to colonize Manchester United or colonize Manchester City? Because they are there for a purpose. They provide a service and you pay them for the service. Nobody is trying to colonize anybody. And I was now asking myself, does that mean the DNA of Manchester United has been corrupted? Because every time we hear the DNA of Manchester United, the DNA of the club, has the DNA been corrupted? You are sending a wrong message to the people who work in that club and the people who support the club, the fans. Fans across the world, Africa, Asia, Middle East. Do you know how many fans are supporting you guys? Manchester United, the club. And for you to come out and make those type of statements, you mess up the DNA of the club, because that is not what Manchester United stand for. Manchester United stand for equality, diversity, and inclusion. That is what Manchester United is known from. That is what Manchester United is known for. They are known for equality, diversity, and inclusion. And why am I saying this? I am saying this because Manchester United policy clearly states that inclusion is part of its DNA. This is on their website. It says on the Manchester United website, inclusion is part of its DNA. What does inclusion mean? Making people feel welcome, making people feel part of a bigger picture, making people feel part of a culture. Inclusion is a feeling. Your website is saying that. Manchester United, all the way since 2016, they integrated inclusion, diversity, and equality in their all red, all equal initiative. They have something called all red, all equal initiative in Manchester United. And this has been established in Manchester United since 2016. 10 years ago, you published your initiative, all red, all equal. Even as of February 2026, Manchester United holds the highest Premier League standard, advanced equality, diversity, and inclusion standard. You are holding the highest level of recognition when it comes to equality, diversity, and inclusion. Did Sir Jim Ratcliffe, did you not read all these things when you decided to have some stake in Manchester United? Did you not read all this recognition award that you have, your policies? Did you not read them? Because sometimes equality, diversity, and inclusion it shouldn't be something that is on paper. It should also reflect in real life. You cannot just have it on paper. It should be in practice, making everybody feel equal, making everybody feel included, and embracing diverse culture. And that is why if you look at the Manchester United squad, it's very diverse. And that diversity is all part of a bigger picture, the DNA of Manchester United. It's all part of a bigger picture. Everybody has something, a role to play, something to contribute. You are holding as a club the Premier League highest level of recognition for equality, diversity, and inclusion. Why do you now go and have an interview and make such statements? You're always having these interviews that always upset people or give the media or journalists something to write about. Because on your policy, on your Manchester United policy, you said it's clearly stated zero tolerance for discrimination. And you also stated in your policy no room for racism. You are the Premier League football club with pride. You support the LGBT community. As a club, you have a DNA of inclusion. Why is that not reflecting on your interview? Nobody is colonizing anybody. When you employ somebody, you employ them to do a job. There are employers in the United Kingdom. They are employing people abroad. We saw it in the healthcare industry. People were given visas, work visas, to come over to England in order to work in the healthcare sector. Footballers also get the same work visas. Footballers are issued work visas by the Home Office. The Home Office of the United Kingdom, Visa and Immigration Department. They issue visas. None of the employees in your club came to the United Kingdom by boat. None of them. I understand Sir Jim Ratcliffe has apologized for what he said, but for future references, think before you talk. You are not under any pressure like a goalkeeper or a defender to stop the opponent. You are not under any pressure. So why say such a thing when you know you have a DNA policy of inclusion? Why do you have to put yourself in that position? Why? Even if you want to go into politics, because these days we never know with millionaires and billionaires. They say things sometimes we don't know if they are saying it because they're trying to push a political party or they are trying to push a certain type of political ideology. We never know what people can do these days for money. Are you making plans to go into politics? Because it's something you would hear from a somebody in politics. That is the kind of comment you would hear from them. Because I remember one particular minister of parliament was, or is it one of the reform candidate was saying adverts on television, something in the line of the adverts you see on television are not reflecting British culture or British values. It's one of the reform, I think it's from Reform, I'm not sure. What Sir Jim Ratcliffe said is something that you would hear from political people in politics. You know, politics is a dirty game. People will say things to boost themselves up in the poll. They want to be on top of the poll, so anything goes. Unless maybe Sir Jim Ratcliffe has been, I think the journalist was saying to him, have you been spending time with Nigel Farage? Have you been spending time with Nigel Farage? Because for you to make such a statement, who have you been spending time with? Who have you been hanging out with? Did you go for a pint of beer with Nigel Farage in one of the pubs? Who have you been spending time with? Because I remember one time when Reform, Nigel Farage was like, we would abolish independent leave to remain in the UK if we get elected in power. We would abolish. Everything is we would abolish. So who have you been spending time with? Or do you want to be a member of Reform? Do you want to apply to join Reform? Or do you want to promote the political party Reform? Is this a hint that you want to go into politics? Could this be a hint? And so it's a very, very sensitive topic. We know there is the good, the bad, the ugly side of immigration. We know. But making a big statement that immigrants have colonized the United Kingdom, it's a wrong move. is a wrong move. If someone like Nigel Farage makes such a statement, I know people will not be surprised. But a co-owner of Manchester United, CEO, chairman of a chemical company, the company that you own, I am sure there are so many immigrants working in your company. You are the CEO. Go and look into the people that are working to make your company get to where it is today. When you make such statement, you have to you don't even make, it's not even, you have to justify it. You have to substantiate what you're saying with evidence, facts. Not getting your facts wrong or getting the numbers wrong, and you just say things. Or is it because reform has... Because I know part of the interview with Sir Jim Ratcliffe, he did say things like, somebody who can go and say something like that will become unpopular for a very long time. Unless you are ready to become unpopular for a very long time so you can say things. But when you want to say things, present all the data. Present all the data to convince your audience or listeners, and not just say things randomly without even thinking, without even looking at all the data, the facts. There are so many reactions to what, since he did the interview, so many reactions. Maybe I will include some of the reactions on this particular recording. To conclude, I don't think 13 million people can colonize 55 million people. 55 million British nationals will be colonized by 13 million people. I don't think so. Unless maybe there's a new type of colonization, or the new type of way of colonizing countries, which obviously still requires a bit of, forceful approach for 13 million people to take over 55 million people. Come on, that's not possible. So let's listen to other people's view on this topic.
Was Jim Ratcliffe right to apologise for his comments?
No, he apologised for the use of one word.
Colonisation.
Yeah, he didn't apologise for his comments. So what did he say? He said 12 million people have come to the country in the last few years. Fact.
Well, he got his facts wrong, actually. He got the dates wrong, didn't he?
He meant 2000, he said 2020. But since 2000, 12 million people is the population increase in Britain. Over 85% of that is the direct impact of immigration. So that's a fact. There are 9 million people living in Britain of working age on benefits of some kind, albeit some of them in work benefits, I will grant you.
Most of them are in work benefits, actually.
Many of them are. No, as I said, I grant you. And he said that given that state of affairs, we don't need mass migration into Britain. And then he goes on to say that it feels like parts of the UK have been colonised. So let's work out what's non-controversial. What's non-controversial is an explosion in the population without the financial compensation to make people's lives better. And I would argue access to the NHS, housing rents, etc. Have been damaged by it. Now, the use of the word colonisation, that's what he's withdrawn.
Do you think that's offensive?
I think it's probably, in the dictionary definition, correct, but perhaps people aren't quite ready for it.
I mean, it has historical overtones, doesn't it?
It does.
Jim Ratcliffe obviously has come out with some comments in an interview he did. He said that Britain has been colonised by immigrants who are draining resources from the state. You can't have an economy with 9 million on benefits and huge level of immigrants coming in. The UK has been colonised by immigrants, really, hasn't it? I mean, the population of the UK was 58 million in 2020. Now it's 70 million. That's 12 million people. Factually, is obviously incorrect. The Office for National Statistics estimates the population of the UK was 67 million in the mid-2020 and 70 million in mid-2024. Owners of football clubs, right? They're generally the billionaires. They often seek to divide, dividers. You know, I watched it, and I mean the hypocrisy. Really, the guy's a migrant himself, an economic migrant. He lives in Monaco. I mean, you can have a gripe all you like, but at least be here and be paying tax and contributing to our society. And I would say a lot of the immigrants, the migrants that do come in, contribute enormously, and facts show you that in terms of revenue, paying tax, etc. Whereas, you know, Jim out there, you know, in Monaco, is doing everything he can to avoid paying tax, I would suggest. So yeah, it's, I mean, there's and also, you know, you're one of the owners of Manchester United, a club that has a lot of players from overseas. When he's talking about colonised by immigrants, what is it okay if you a white person that you're living abroad and not a brown or black person? I don't know. Only he can answer that question. But lots and lots and lots of my friends that support Manchester United have come on and said similar things to what I'm saying now. I think they're very disappointed in that. I mean, look at the story alone of Amid Diallo that has ended up here. So I find that deeply concerning, that an owner of a football club can say that sort of thing.